Republicans and Democrats have done the largest rollback of Dodd-Frank. Those are the financial protections or financial regulations since the 2008 financial crisis. Now, the regulations were done in response to the financial crash. And unfortunately, these rollbacks could lead the way for an economic disaster in the near future. Now, what does it do? It raises the threshold to $250 billion from $50 billion, under which banks are deemed too important to the financial system to fail. So those institutions also would not have to undergo stress tests or submit so-called living wills, both safety valves designed to plan for financial disaster. So essentially, the smaller the bank is, the less it has to comply with these regulations. So the regulations don't necessarily apply to them. And essentially what has happened now with bipartisan support is that some of these regulations would be lifted for mid-sized banks. The way our politicians are selling it to us is, no, this is gonna help the small banks, the community banks. No, this is really about mid-sized banks that didn't want to deal with the regulations, didn't want to have to deal with the government when it came to shady lending practices and shady bets when it came to our money and our deposits. And now some of those restrictions will be lifted.
Okay, so two parts of this story. One is one of the groups that's affected is BlackRock, positively. So they're a giant investment firm. And so it looks like their gifts to the Republican Party worked out great. Unsurprisingly, they found themselves a loophole. What happened? I thought Trump was going to close the loopholes.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to go after the hedge fund guys and the private equity guys. Instead, he has gone after them with gifts. He's like, here, have more money and more deregulation. Look, Dodd-Frank was, in my opinion, a pretty weak set of regulations on the banks. And now they have gutted even those weak regulations. And in the press conference, Trump said that Dodd-Frank was a disaster. Now, during the campaign, he ran against, if you remember all the ads, the global financial elites. The global financial elites hate Dodd-Frank. They call it a disaster because it prevents them from taking more risk, which in the short term gives them a lot more money. In the long term, it crashes the economy, but that's okay, because we pay for that, they don't. It's privatizing the gains, socializing the losses. So who's Donald Trump working for now? The global financial elite. Why? Because they're funneling money to his campaign and to the Republican Party overall. They did a little bit in the last election. They're doing it at record numbers now. Now, the second part of the story is conservative Democrats. So one of them was at the ceremony, Heidi Heitkamp from North Dakota. Now, others had signed on to the legislation and thought that they would get credit from Trump because they are most of them are in red states and they're up for re-election. So they wanted a photo opportunity with Trump, which, by the way, is pathetic. So be a man, okay? And actually be a strong candidate and your voters might actually respect you. And why did they vote for Trump in the first place? He at least had the appearance of honesty. It was totally wrong. But he gave that appearance of like, I'm just blurting out things, so I must be honest, right? Because I'm obviously not polished. Mm-hmm. So these guys, they don't learn that lesson. What they learn is, oh, I'll go kiss Trump's ass, and maybe that'll make the red state voters respect me. It's really one of the saddest things I've ever heard. So, you know what happened? Trump didn't invite them anyway.
It's fantastic. No, it's great. I'm glad that he didn't invite them, and I'm glad that they didn't get the credit that they wanted. Now, Trump made a few statements about how Democrats helped to make this bipartisan effort possible, and I'll read you those quotes in just a second. But understand how much of a miscalculation this was when it comes to those Democrats. Because when it comes to these big banks, I would argue that both Democrats and Republicans are relatively united on the issue, right? I think that everyone is pretty frustrated at what happened with the bailouts. Everyone knows about the shady practices at Wall Street. Everyone knows that these bankers are incredibly greedy. And so, look, the regulation has been, defamed left and right. But I think most people understand that there needs to be regulation put in place so us taxpayers aren't paying for their bailout again in the future. And so a good way of playing this as a Democrat would be, hey, you know what? That bailout was ridiculous. We want to prevent that bailout in the future. But instead, they went ahead and signed on to this crazy, deregulation effort anyway. And by the way, it was 17 Democratic senators who voted in favor of scaling Dodd-Frank back and 33 House Democrats who supported it.
Yeah, in fact, even Barney Frank of Dodd-Frank, he's that Frank, when interviewed by the Young Turks, said, "What do you want us to do? Not take banker money?"
Yeah.
He said we should at least get 20% of the banker money. What a pathetic strategy, consigned to losing for the rest of time. On that Senate Banking Committee, out of the 17 Democrats that voted for it, there was Heitkamp, who went, but also John Tester, Joe Donnelly, and Mark Warner. And those usually are senators who haven't met a banker ass they wouldn't love to make out with. And so Donnelly, though, was looking forward to making out with Donald Trump too. And he's the one that was felt most aggrieved that he didn't get an invite. He says, quote, "I was told by the White House that he would not be receiving an invitation," his aide said this, "due to space constraints. But they noted, but there was actually like 24 people there, so there might not have been space constraints." You think, schmuck? Yeah, of course, they left you out on purpose. Did you think by kissing Republican ass they would take it easy on you? What do you think they're gonna be like? Oh, no, let's let Joe Donnelly keep that seat in Indiana. No, they're gonna come for you, and they're going to be vicious. You think they're gonna give you credit for working with Trump? Do you think they're gonna call you moderate? No, they're gonna call you out of control liberal Marxist Joe Donnelly. They're gonna rip your face off. And you wanted to go kiss Trump's ass. How's that strategy working out for you now? 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.